thing.
Okay.
Got it. All right. So we're live. We are live. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Makers Create Live here on the Makers Chat Podcast YouTube channel. And I have Greta and I with me today. How's it going, Greta?
Hey, everyone.
So we are on our phones again, which means it kind of goes back and forth with the camera. So I'm going to stay quiet sometimes because I want her to be able to show us what she's doing and tell us about what she's working on. So what are you working on tonight, lady?
Well, I thought today I haven't done Molly's Dolls for a while. So Molly's Dolls is a mixed media project that I've done and sold in the past. And so I thought, you know what, that might be kind of fun and different, break away a little bit from the usual and make something quirky and cute.
I love it.
After a long weekend.
I love it. So what are you going to be using?
Everything in the kitchen sink. So, full disclosure, you may see me get up and down because I thought I was going to be coming to you from the maker tonight. However, I was having some technical difficulties. So plan B. And so we're back here at the home studio, and in the home studio, I've got all the things. So I might be getting up and going back and forth, but I'll show you a couple that are kind of midstream. So this is one, and it's a candlestick, and this was a teacup and a teapot, and this is just a little a ring for a lamp and a discarded doll head. Okay, so I know some people love these, some people hate these. I used to get super when people hated them, because to me, these little composition dolls from the early days, they're like little works of art to me. They are beautiful painting on them, and they were somebody's thing. So I have sentimental attachment to silly stuff like that. So when I find these, it doesn't matter if they are together or not together, if it's a head and one arm or whatever, they're coming home with me more than likely, because I will find random things. Here's another one that I haven't shown anyone. You guys get to see. I hope she stays together. Okay, so she is various old cameras, yes, and an old flash. And there's a Kodak camera roll. And then she's a little Dutch girl. And I have glued some little tongs thing here for pictures. So
love it.
And this is the lens off of a camera. And then of course everybody gets a tiara. Everybody gets a crown or a tiara or something along that line. I can figure out where to put these. So I've got some of them that are in various stages. And then I've got, I pulled together a bunch of stuff behind me. Oh, her tiara is moving us. There we go. Oh, there you go. Can you see me?
I think you're coming back. Yep, you're back.
So I can shop basically from what's behind me. And what's behind me, there are various pads. I collect these tea cans, any kind of random wrought iron, lots and lots of old cookie tins. Like this one is so pretty, right? And I won't have to do anything to that one. So yeah, that's what I'm doing tonight. Then I've got random pieces of fabric. I've got the little flowers that I buy for decoration. These are old flower frog things, and they start off looking like this, all the prong things like that. And then I bend them back, and then I fold them back. So this will be a crown, and then I have old buttons, which I have thousands of, categorized in by color. So each button will go on the tiara like that. So that's what I'm doing.
I love it. I love it. So I am going to work on some fiber art jewelry. So I usually use the recycled sari yarn. So it's silks from like a factory where they would build where they would make saris. They collect the threads from the floor and they recycle them and create this really vibrant, brightly colored yarn. And now that I'm learning how to spin, I understand that process. So I actually bought some roving, which was it was like a silk roving that had the recycled sari parts in it. And I spun up some yarn, and I played with it I was like, if I can make yarn, that means I can make these pieces using my own yarns, right? So this was the first one, and it was, it's not perfect because I'm still figuring out spinning. And so my yarn isn't even, like, I'm not consistent yet. So I have like lumpy pieces, but this one will be mine. So this will be the first one I made. I won't put anything
crazy good.
on it.
Is it a bracelet?
It will be. So so the first thing I do when I'm making them is I create the shape. So it's the cuff shape, and I'll put a clasp on it. So this one will be mine. And I have this, but I have a ball of that sari silk. And then I have this one, which is a really fun, like kind of harvesty blend color, some roving that I had that I spun up. So yeah,
it's like oranges. Are those oranges?
It's got orange and some blue and red and a little bit of a green in there and some yellow. Wow. It was a really pretty blended roving, so it spun up really, really pretty.
Yeah, that is really pretty. I love it.
I'm getting to that point. I'm down the rabbit hole with the fiber art stuff, that it's like, you can get as detailed as you want with this. And get as into the whole making process as you want to. And at some point I'll have to stop, because at some point I will put so much time into it that I won't be able to afford to sell it. But this has been fun. So while I'm learning, I was like, I can make jewelry out of my stuff now. So
that is so cool. I cannot wait to see. I can't believe that you are bringing back the spinning wheel.
Well, I'm actually not bringing it back. It's actually super popular. It's just that, it's a big thing, actually. I didn't realize what a thing it was until I, got into weaving and all the different fibers. And then when I started talking to Jerry, actually the wheel I'm using is Jerry's. She's loaned it to me to learn on, so I can figure out what it is that I want to buy. And it just talking to different people, and it's like, it's a huge thing. It's not new. I'm not bringing it back, but I am loving figuring it out and playing with the stuff. So
very cool. Now, does Jerry weave or does Jerry spin as well?
So Jerry, and we're talking about Jerry Paltak with Ellie's Daughter. Mm-hmm. So if you go back, she's actually the very first podcast episode that we did on the YouTube channel. But she's a furniture artist and a canvas artist now. But at one time she was a spinner, and she actually raised her own sheep and harvested their fleece and washed it and did the entire wool processing, and then spun her own art yarns and won awards and traveled to different festivals and was like super successful in that world, and then decided she wanted to move on to something else. She's a serial entrepreneur. So she tires of one thing and then goes on to something new, which is awesome.
Yeah. I knew about the sheep, but I did not realize she did the spinning.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't surprise me.
I actually have, I have a whole thing that when she told me about that, I was like, you've got to bring them and let me see them. And she brought this box full of these yarns that she had spun. And I'm like, okay, so are you going to sell some to me? So I bought a bag full of stuff from her before I started spinning and when I was weaving. And a lot of it is stuff that she had from her sheep. And it was actual like locks, like the curled locks and different things. So she was super talented. She took an afternoon to show me how to use the wheel and get me started. And then I've been kind of down the YouTube university rabbit hole, figuring out all the things.
So does she still knit? What does she do? What did she do with them? Like sweaters or
different things? I know she showed me some pictures. I know she had done shawls. I can't remember if she mostly did crochet or knitting, but she did some of that. And she does have a loom, a tabletop rigid loom. So I know she did some weaving. But I think mostly she just spun the art yarns and sold the yarn.
Wow. We have some talented people surrounding us, don't we?
We really do.
And I
feel very lucky to call you all friends.
Sam. So what are you working on tonight?
So I'm going to make a cuff. I'm going to face my camera down so people can watch, and I'm going to take my wire and I'm going to crochet it with the yarn to create some cuff blanks for my message bracelets that I create. Since I am working on putting a package together for you, my friend, for the maker. So thought I'd try to get a few extra pieces of jewelry in there before I send that out.
Yay. You know, I already have a bunch of Made by Danielle as I'm getting all of these wonderful things into the make rate. And I say this every live on my channel. It's getting harder and harder to resist some of these beautiful things that are coming in.
I totally believe that.
I have a new puppy, so you may hear her. Let me just show you. Maybe. Oh, I'm an old gal. This is Birdie.
Oh, sweet Birdie.
Birdie's 6 months old. So she's not very she is not very mommy's on live yet. So apologize in advance. Here you go, Bird.
Well, we're waiting on my husband to get home from work. So my dog could very easily try to get my attention too, just because he's not here. But, you know. All right, I'm going to face my camera down.
Whoop. Well, let's see here. I'm going to try and do mine too, but what do we think? There, that's not terrible.
That's good. Let's see what you're working on.
Ooh, yours is great. I can see everything. Now I can't hear you.
Oh, that's because I'm not talking. Okay. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Okay. I was thinking. But tell us about what you're doing, because I've got wire and I've got yarn and I'm crocheting them together. So while that's kind of cool, it's not nearly as fascinating as what you're working on. So I want to hear about that.
Here, let me move all these wires out of the way. Okay, so I am going to build something, and I'm looking around at all of the fun things that I have pulled that's random. And I'm trying to decide where to start. Here's something I do too. You probably do this as well, being that you're fiber intuitive.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna interrupt you because I don't have a visual.
Oh, let's see here. How's that?
Much better.
Okay, good. When I am getting ready, if I have a sweater or a shirt or something that no longer fits me or has a stain or something along that line, if it has a fun detail on it, I will cut that detail off and use it for one of the creations. So this was a little INC razorback tank, but it had these beautiful silk roses. So I would love to find something to do with this today. And I you know how you just kind of turn it around a little bit and kind of look to see what if it speaks to you. And so I guess I'm starting there today, and then I'll build off of this. So
I love it.
That's going to be a for sure. I think this one will be a for sure. So I'm just gathering the elements, and then we start with the base and we go forward from there.
I love it. So do you know what your base is going to be?
Nope. You can't see me, but I'm turned around and I'm shopping from my own stash.
Perfect.
Show us what colors you're using.
So I'm making this one with the recycled sari silk yarn that I purchased pre-done. And it's a little over, the yarn itself is a little overspun, which makes it a little harder to work with. But it's such a cool result. The end result is really awesome, and tends to be a favorite. I've done this process with a couple of different colorways before, but this one has always sold the best. It's the one that everyone loves. So
I have a couple of those made from that palette, and you can basically wear it with everything.
You really can, because it truly does have like every single color in it.
So I found a great tin. It's an old Granger pipe and tobacco tin. And I love the colors on it. And I feel like it's kind of the perfect size for this. Now, please remember, I'm winging this, people.
You are truly creating from scratch. We get to see your whole process. I love it.
Yes. So I am loving this. I think I can go from here. I like the black, and I like the yellow and gold, which will kind of pull in nicely with this. Not loving these as much, but I've got other button groupings. So now you can use a spray adhesive, especially if you're using a fabric. But I think what I'm just going to use is the handy E6000 and get that on there, because I do not want this to come off. So my next part will be where to go. So I hate covering some of these graphics because they're just so pretty, but this is probably going to be the front. So I have to determine whether I want this Granger to be the back, or if I want this really cool bird dog to be the back, which you met my bird. She's not bird dog, but so I have it. Okay. So I'm going to compromise. I think, let me see here. No, I think I'm not going to cover up the bird dog, because I think I can keep the Granger on each side and keep the bird dog in the back.
Awesome. So tell us about where you find all of these things.
Well, I am a hoarder, collector. So I just kind of if I see cool things. And you know what's funny is people are also enablers, because they will drop things off on my porch or send things. Oh, I found this in an antique store. I thought you might be able to use this. I'm gonna have to remove this tag. Talk amongst yourselves. I have to get scissors.
I know that feeling though. It was funny. I was actually at my mom's last night and she was talking about needing to cancel her magazine subscriptions. And I was like, oh yeah, what magazines do you get? So she starts listing off all these magazines and I'm like, well, what do you do with them? And she's like, I've just got boxes of them. And I'm like, oh, well, I can help you with that. So I literally brought 2 bags full of magazines home from my mom's last night. She was like, what are you going to do with them? And I was like, I don't know yet. But we will figure that out, because that's the beauty of it, right? You've got to hoard some supplies. Good crafters just are people who know how to use a pile of junk well, right?
You have to have a pile of junk. You have to have a pile of junk ready and in a closet somewhere, so that you can run and fetch it when your internet is not working at your shop.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
We lost your image again. We lost your face again.
Oh no. Maybe my face is not supposed to be being shown.
That's not true. I see you now.
I
think it's just, my guess is it's because if you adjust it, it's at the very bottom of the screen with this Zoom interface to turn the camera off. So my guess is anytime you have to adjust it, it's probably super easy to bump that button.
Okay. So tell me about your vacation so I can live vicariously through you.
Well, I tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed my vacation. We did not do much, and that was why I loved it so much. We just spent some time hanging out together, and I got to chat with my husband, and I took a box, the rolling scrap boxes. It's like a scrapbook box on wheels.
Yeah.
Before we left, I was like, okay, I'm going to fill this up with craft supplies, but if I can't fit it in this box, it's not coming. Because otherwise, I'd pack my whole studio to take on vacation. So, yes. So that was my project box. I packed up my craft box, and that was all I had. And so we hung out. We got to spend some time by the pool, spend some time at the beach, spend some time just hanging out together. And I got to work on some crafts. So.
Where did you go?
We went to Isle of Palms. So my in-laws live at the Isle of Palms in Wild Dunes, and they were visiting my sister-in-law. And so we went and did some house sitting and spent the week at the beach while they were gone.
Is that still South Carolina?
It is. It's the beach here in South Carolina. It's our favorite beach here in South Carolina. It's not quite as crowded as some of the other beaches. So
you're a mountains person though, aren't you?
I am a mountains person. So if you gave me a choice, I would pick the mountains, but I like the beach too. And it is a nice beach. It's like I said, it's not nearly as crowded as some of the other beaches. And it's just really, really laid back. So.
Did you have good weather?
We did. It was beautiful weather. Got to just, like I said, hang out on the deck. It was nice, and under the fans on the screen porch. And I read multiple books while I was gone.
Ooh, do tell. What did you read?
I couldn't tell you all of the names because I have a Kindle Unlimited. And so most of those, are shorter novellas, and they're just like fun, like rom-com type reads. A lot of what I read is anyway. But then I was also listening to, so when I was at home, I was using my Kindle, or at the house, I was using my Kindle and reading just the easy read rom-com kind of things. But I am listening to a book right now by Karen Slaughter. I don't know. Have you ever read any of her books or listened to any of her books?
No, what is she, a rom-com?
She's not rom-com. She's more suspense thriller kind of
Ooh.
writing. And I really, really enjoy really enjoy her stuff. I like all kinds of books, like the rom-com easy reads. Like I said, I do those on Kindle Unlimited because I mean, I can read those like candy, but I love a good thriller. I tend to listen to those in the audiobook version. I also love a good historical fiction. I'm a big Ken Follett fan. I don't know if you've ever read his books, but so anyways, yeah. So Karen Slaughter, though, I really enjoy her books. So I'm listening to Pieces of Her, which it says it's actually a Netflix series.
Oh my gosh. I just queued that up.
Did you really? Okay.
Yeah,
well, I'm listening to the book right now.
They say it's phenomenal.
Well, it had Toni Collette in it, right?
Yes.
And I love her. So yeah, I figure once I get done with the book, I'm going to want to watch the series.
Cool.
But
so you're a Netflix person, right?
Yeah, we have Netflix. We're binge people more so than live TV people.
You're what?
We tend to binge on things rather than watch live TV.
Same. Have you seen the girl, I'm gonna mess it up. The girl, something about sitting in the window. Shoot. I knew I was gonna mess it up as soon as I started it.
Yeah, yeah, the girl, is it just like The Girl in the Window, maybe?
Maybe. Yeah, it's Kristen. Is it Kristen Bell?
Yes, it's Kristen Bell. It's a comedy, but it's almost like a spoof on The Girl on a Train.
Yeah, it's actually really cute and a little suspenseful.
Awesome. Yeah, that's one that I want to watch too. We're trying to slow down on our TV watching. We got a little carried away for a while, and we've been we actually started listening to a book while we were driving down to the beach. So we're like, you know what? Instead of watching TV, we're just going to listen to this book together until we finish it. And kind of slow down on that. But that is definitely on my watch list.
It was cute. I don't like suspenseful things television wise because I have to go to sleep after. But I can do a book. It's really weird. I think it's because the visual part, is just too real for my empathetic brain.
Yes.
How is your thing coming? I pulled you up on YouTube. Ooh.
It's coming together pretty well, actually. Sometimes these come together easier than others. This one, I usually use a smaller crochet hook. So this one has gotten a little wider than I'm used to. But the nice thing about these, once I get it worked up and worked the way I want, it's got that wire in it. So I can actually squeeze it and shape it a little bit with my fingers and make it skinnier. And then when I do that, it actually makes the yarn even tighter and shows off the pattern better. So it works out, but I keep it stretched out while I'm actually working it up because it's easier to see my stitches that way.
I use a ton of knitting needles in my mixed media, these doll things.
Yeah. Knitting needles or crochet hooks?
Yeah. Both.
Okay.
Both. Because I find them everywhere. So they become arms or they become wings or whatever is floating my boat for the time.
Awesome.
But I do not, I can barely sew a button, Danielle.
I bet you could.
I bet you I couldn't. But I would like to learn. And in fact, my mother-in-law, before she passed, she gave me her sewing machine. And I know it's not hand stitching, but I thought I would start there. And then I bought a book recently, actually, on slow stitching.
Yes.
And I really want to try that. Maybe on paper or, different textiles
Yes.
than, your normal thing.
I love slow stitching. So my friend and vendor at the store, Mitzi, she is she's another textile artist. Her big thing that she does is rope baskets, and she'll incorporate different vintage fabrics into everything. But she has some really, really cool piecing kits, like slow stitching piecing kits that she sells. And
did I know this?
I don't know. I don't know if you did or not. She has them in her space at the store, so you may have seen them in December. She's the one who stitches the rope baskets. If you recall seeing those,
where were those in the store?
They were on the street side of the building in the main warehouse, kind of in the middle.
Okay. Yeah. Gorgeous.
Yes.
Okay.
So I did that with her one day, and that was a lot of fun. So I really enjoy. It's funny, like my grandmothers were all seamstresses. They taught me how to use the sewing machine, but so I still prefer slow stitching. I don't know why. I've got some machines here, but unless it's just truly a time thing or a really big project, I'm much more likely to want to do it by hand than to actually pull out the machine. I don't know why that is. That doesn't make any sense, because I'm usually all about productivity and getting stuff done. But when it comes to stitching, I would just much rather do it by hand.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Do you have a fancy machine?
No, not fancy. I have an overlock, a baby lock machine. So like when I need to serge edges and stuff, I can do that. And I'm much more apt to pull that out, because that's not something that can really, you can do it by hand, but not well. But adding buttons, stitching up things, stitching my pillowcases to my tapestries, that kind of thing. I'd rather do it by hand.
All right. I had to go look for a head. The ones that I had back here were just a little, okay. So I may or may not have a wall of heads. And
you should show us your wall of heads
when we have dog sitters and stuff come, because I know that they're coming into my workshop, even if there's gates or the door shut. You know how I know? Because I would do it too. So I tell them, I say, I keep the door shut because I don't want the pets in here. If you would happen to go in there, there's a wall of doll heads. They're like, doo, 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 doo. And maybe that keeps some of them out, actually.
Like, this is the creepy doll head woman.
Yeah, they're around the corner. So you have to come in. I have 2 doors. These used to be my son Murphy's room and my son Andy's room. And at one point it was one big room. A single teacher, schoolhouse teacher, never married. She built this house.
Oh, wow.
And in 1910. And so this room is weird because it has a fireplace and a built-in library, with the leaded glass and everything. And but it was 2 bedrooms when we bought the house, which was great because we were melting families. So each kid got their own room. And, but of course, when everybody left, down came the middle. And so now it's one big, awesome, humongous home studio. Yeah. So you have to come in and then you have to kind of go around the corner. And so you don't see them immediately. But boy, you didn't know they were there and you came around that corner.
It'd take you off guard, huh?
Yeah. And I mean, you deserve it, really, if you're popping in here and you didn't ask.
If you're being creepy and you're somewhere you're not supposed to be.
Yes. Yes. So I was going to go with this one. And if you see, she's got like a little bit of a crack here, I don't worry about any of those things because I will repair it. Even her eyes, I can repair that. I can repair like any kind of missing composition stuff. Oh, let's see, maybe you can't see it. Okay. So, but I feel like she's too big. I like the sleepy eye ones. And I went and glued this on here already. So I don't think I pulled her because I've been looking to do something with her.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like she's right. But she's got some hair issues. I feel like this is starting, even though it's a Granger tobacco thing, I feel like it's starting to become girly.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm going to do right now is kind of fix her hair and rework it and then glue her down and start the jewelry and the flower process next. And then we'll pop her on a base and she'll be about done until I mess with her, 3 weeks from now, because I will have decided I wanted to do something else.
Yes.
Because I tinker.
So you and I have had this conversation before, but you don't sell very many of your dolls, do you?
You mean as evidenced by that up there?
Well, I just meant by we've talked about it before. And you seem to
there.
love them. You don't like to give them away.
Well, when I do sell them, they sell well.
Yeah.
But I had a favorite. And she was like in a copper thing. Oh, she was gorgeous. And I put a really high price on her at a show. Insanely high price on her, which is a technique, as we know.
Yes.
For selling or not selling things. Yes. Well, in this case, the technique did not work. So she sold, and I have been in regret mode since then, but I am going to take a few of these down to the makery. I am.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, because they are
Can
definitely.
I tell you why, though? Another reason is because even though I say I'm through that everybody going, oh, that's creepy. It as a creator, it kind of hurts my feelings a little bit. Now you can say my furniture is terrible, or you can say, what'd she do? Like close or blindfold herself and do that canvas. Totally don't care. But for whatever reason, I struggle with people saying these are creepy. And I think it's because, we went through a phase. I don't know, we still are in a phase where people took these and they put blood and stuff on them, and they made them like little doll horrors. And but that is not what to do here.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You're very protective of your dolls, which I think is sweet. Honestly, I think that's awesome that you love what you're doing so much that you feel protective of it.
Probably not very good business, though.
Well, I mean, you don't sell quite as many when you don't put prices on them, admittedly, but
yes, this is true. But I'm going to take a few down. I've got like some of the kind of cooler ones. I've got a couple of jewelry boxes. And then I've got some sewing related ones. I've got one where I took wooden dowels and made the arms out. So you can hang jewelry or whatever on it. So I am going to take a few of those down.
That'll be cute. You can use your jewelry hanger one in your displays too.
Yeah, I could. It's very sweet. It's pink and black and got lots of it's got an Eiffel Tower for a crown.
Oh, that does sound very sweet.
Yes. So yeah, it's about changing the mindset, I guess. And I'm not going to change the mindset until, I take them down.
Right. This is true.
So sometimes when you're repairing hair, you become like a hairdresser. And you have to, you're covering one thing. And then by covering one thing, then you are exposing something else. So for example, I just accidentally exposed a staple. I guess I could take that out though. Look at this. So actually underneath this wig, there's hair. How about that?
Huh.
How about that? Look at that. This is a horseman doll. This is an expensive doll back in the day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great.
So I don't know if you had the opportunity to meet Connor when you were here in December. But Connor is, one of my employees that he works for me, and he's incredible. He's very talented and he is very knowledgeable when it comes to antiques and vintage items. And he actually has a doll that he brought into his space recently, and he was giving us kind of some of the history of it. And it's like you said, it's really old. And the heads of these dolls, the craftsmanship is just incredible. But then they gave them these soft bodies. And of course, the construction of that, the bodies don't want to stay on those rigid heads because after a while, the stitching wears out, the head's too heavy, that kind of thing. But it was really cool to hear him kind of talk about it and show us the details on that doll.
I love dolls. I mean, just the history of some of these dolls are amazing. Like when they were made and where they were made. And
yeah.
So I love him. I did not know he had an appreciation for that.
He has an appreciation for all things that are old and antique and vintage. He has a space inside the store and it's just beautiful. Perfectly curated.
Now, where was his space? I'm sure I saw it.
I'm sure you did. It is, if you are in the main warehouse, it's kind of in the center towards the back. It's just to the right of the main aisle. My husband has recently named the segments of my store. So we have Broadway. He calls it Broadway, which is the big main aisle that goes down the center of the store. Okay. And then there is Street Side, which is everything to the left of that is closest to Union Street. Okay. And then there's the boutique section, which would be to the left of the center aisle in the main warehouse where the clothing boutique is, and then everything along behind there. And then the rail side of the building, which is where our salvage is and where we had our temporary workshop room and all that kind of stuff. And it's funny because those words make so much sense. And to tell you all the random things we have called all these different areas to try to communicate to each other where we're talking about. And then one day I come in and he has set up these cameras for us, the surveillance system. And I notice that all the cameras have names. And I realized that he has named all the sections of my store, and it actually makes sense. So once we started talking about it, I was like, I think we should start using these terms so that we're all on the same page.
That's fantastic. Yeah. It's like, why didn't we think of that?
I know. It took the data guy, the logic
guy. Yes.
We tried to be too creative about it, I think.
Okay. I love her. Her hair is looking super cute. What do you think?
I like it a lot.
Okay, I'm going to push this back and I'm doing some little ringlets here. Okay. So now here's the next phase. So do I do crown? And now I'm wondering, should I do flower crown? I don't know. I could do both. I wonder if I could do both.
Put flowers on the crown.
Got too much?
I mean,
Smaller ones.
is too much really a thing?
No, it's not. I mean, that could be really cute. I have not done that before.
I like it.
I've got smaller ones too, so I could pepper some of the bigger ones with the smaller ones. Okay, that's what we're doing. We're going both.
Love it.
Okay, so before I do that, now I'm going to take this part and I'm going to affix her. Let's see if I can move you. I move and then I go out. So please let me know if I do that. Are still showing?
Yep. I see the top of her head and the space in front of her.
Okay. I'll once I get it down, I'll actually maybe. All right, you talk and I'm gonna try and go up a little bit more.
All right. Well, I'm getting close. So when I'm working on these, I lost a stitch right here, and I knew when it happened, and I decided intentionally not to go back because I knew that I was gonna squeeze it together to make it the size I wanted. So it's not gonna matter. You're not gonna be able to tell when it's done. But once I start getting to this point, I have to start deciding if I'm making it big enough for my wrist or if we're keeping it for a smaller wrist, because these are a little different. And there is a solid inch difference between larger wrist and smaller wrist and what's appropriate. So
do you actually, is there a standard size for that type of thing?
So I tell you, I have researched that, and it depends on who you ask what standard is. But what I have discovered is that most things, when they're standard, if it's a cuff style like this that doesn't have like a lot of variation in like how it's going to sit on your wrist, then it's usually going to be about, I don't know, 7 1/4 is usually going to be standard. However, 7 1/4 can be really, if someone truly has a small dainty wrist, 7 1/4 feels way big. And then if you have a thick wrist, like I've got I'm a bigger girl and I've got a thicker wrist, 7 1/4 is going to be like, it's going to fit me. It's going to come around my wrist, but it's just going to barely attach. So I tend to do anything from 6 1/2 to 8. So I'll make some that are 6 1/2. I'll make some that are 7 1/4, and I'll make some that are 8. And so that standard 7 1/4, I add 1/4 of an inch or subtract 1/4 of an inch, so that I have a pretty decent variety for all the different wrist sizes. And then they're just a variety, and they're on the shelf. And I've never known anyone to buy one without trying it on, to be honest. So
True. I have a medium size, but I like mine a little looser.
Yeah.
All right. So I put the E6000 on the inside because of the way that it's fitting, it is actually a great fit. It goes right over this top. Sometimes I'll leave it so that the tops can be opened and like things can be stashed in there. And I still might do that somewhere. But on this one, she's got such a beautiful head that I don't want to risk somebody popping that off and then her head going flying.
Yeah. Somewhere. I don't blame you.
All right. So she's got a couple of edges, which is keeping her from laying flush, but I'm okay with that. Because I think what I'm going to do is give her some jewelry. So if I give her jewelry, I'm going to fill this space with some E6000 just to get on here for good. And then if I give her a little jewelry, then that gap will be closed. Fascinating, huh?
No, I love it. E6000 is good stuff. I use E6000 a lot too.
Oh gosh, I go through it. I should own stock in E6000.
I know, right? Every now and then I'll be mad about it because I'm a little impatient, and you do have to let E6000 sit up overnight, really. But so sometimes I'll do both. Sometimes I'll do a touch of hot glue or super glue to keep it still immediately, but I'll still put that layer of E6000 so that, after it's had time to fully dry, it's not going anywhere.
For composition, sometimes the hot glue can break down composition.
Yeah.
So I have not had good luck with it. The only other fixant that I use is if I'm doing, for example, this girl is on an old recipe box or a filing box or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's actually, you can use her. And she's actually, this is wood glue on her. Okay, she needs a necklace and a base. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so this is a broken necklace. I wish that was gold. Let's see how it looks. Maybe. So I have drawers and drawers full of junk jewelry too.
I can see that. Makes sense. I actually bought a bag of junk jewelry, like brooches and pieces and bits, from a vendor last year because it was just really cool. She created just really fun pieces. She'd take old frames and then use jewelry pieces to create art.
Oh yeah, I love when people do that.
Yeah. And then she would put together just grab bags of some of the stuff that she didn't use or when she had too much or whatever. And I thought I could use that for something, kind of the whole craft hoarding that we talked about early on. So I've got a bag of that right now. And I was actually looking at it the other day and I'm like, how can I use this for Christmas stuff this year? Because I'm already planning my Christmas stuff.
Was that the lady that had the turquoise?
No. I'm trying to think about who you're talking about. But this was actually a temporary vendor. She was only there for a week because we did a Christmas in July thing last year. And she just joined us for that with her Christmas art. So it wouldn't have been somebody that would have been there in December.
I'm shopping for jewelry. Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I finished this one. I finished this cuff piece. So I'll go back later and I'll attach like a little message band here and add a few stones to it and put a toggle clasp on either end to wear it as a cuff. So now I think I'm going to venture and use some of my own hand spun yarn, do this pretty orange and blue combo and see how that weaves up. It's exciting to do this stuff with the stuff I've made, but it's also a little nerve-wracking because it's like, yeah, but I made it. Is it going to hold up? Even though I know looking at it, it's going to hold up. It's sturdy. There's still just something about that whole process. It's like, yeah, but I made it. So what if it doesn't? And I'm like, I break yarn all the time that was like mass produced. So I don't know why I get so squirrely about it.
Plus, you know the art of making jewelry already. The physics of it, what stands up the test of time and what doesn't. I know it's a new process for you, but I feel like you already.
Yeah, I know it'll work. It's just nerve-wracking. You know what I mean?
No, I am shocked that anything is nerve-wracking to you. True story.
Oh my gosh, everything is nerve-wracking to me. I'm glad I hide it well.
All right. I can't find anything I love, so I may have to come back to it. like one of those things where I don't want to just put something to put something.
I understand.
All right, moving on. But she definitely will have some sort of ornament around her neck, some sort of jewelry or decoration. I just had a thought. You know what I'm dying to use? I'll show you.
Beautiful.
Not for her, but do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I bought these specifically for my dolls.
How do you plan to use them with your dolls?
Okay, so I've got old books and they will be glued together. And then I haven't found the right topper book though. And what I'll probably do is cut out somewhere in one of these a space to where you could stash stuff.
Yeah.
And then the head will go, let's pretend the head, oh, that's not going to be big enough. And that's definitely not going to work. So this will be a topper to the book one.
Okay.
So it'll be a book theme one.
That will be fun. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's a great crown.
That will be a lot of fun. I love it. So those actually were handcrafted by a young girl in Georgia. And I cannot remember her name right now because we're trying to talk about it. But I met her dad because he was a buyer. Well, no, he wasn't a buyer. I guess he was a rep for one of the companies that I bought from. And he didn't tell me it was his daughter. You know, he just showed it as this thing that they have, if, you know, in case we were interested. And I loved them. And so, of course, I wanted to put in an order. And so after we're done, then he tells me it's his daughter. You know, he didn't want that to influence the sales process at all. But she makes those and sells them to raise money for her violin lessons.
Oh, that's amazing.
Isn't that really cool?
Yes, I think I bought 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, they're awesome.
All right, so I'm going to use this base, I think, because it has remnants of the yellow and it's very girly. So anytime I go to find a base or any of these, I always have to make sure that there's nothing in them. And there is. There's zippers in here. Look at all these zippers. Maybe I can do something with the zippers with these. Okay, so we take that out. Then this will literally get glued onto here. Boy. Not very conducive to a Zoom craft. I need like a serious aerial shot. Okay. So not tricky, but getting them centered is not my favorite because I tend to be a little impatient.
I don't know what that's like. Mm-hmm. I think this is coming together nice.
Yeah, yours, it's beautiful. I love everything about what you're doing, sister.
You're talking about books, and that made me think I've announced it. Actually, kind of just sort of slid the announcement in there this past week, but I'm doing a crafty book club at the store. We're starting at the end of June.
What do you do with that?
So we picked a book and we're reading A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. And then the craft will be candle making. So I'm intentionally keeping the cost low and keeping the projects easy. But I thought, I love a good book club. I've always loved a good book club. And in the past, it's always revolved around going out to dinner or something like that. And I thought, why not have a book club that instead of revolving around, a meal, could be more of a craft experience.
So let me ask you, is the craft based on the topic of the book?
Well, loosely, not really. It's not the topic of the book, but the title of the book was A Flicker in the Dark. So we're doing candle making.
Oh, candles. Yeah.
So like I thought, okay, I want to do, like, I've got a few craft ideas in mind that I want to do for the book club. One of them being paper flowers. So either there'll be a book that'll have flowers, as part of the title, or maybe in the cover or something. It'll be loosely connected. It'll mostly just be a craft for the craft's sake, but I'll try to find ways to connect it together.
Very cool.
So I'm excited about that. I love to read.
I would love to do more reading, but I feel like I don't have as much time. So I'm a cheater. I listen to the books on tape mostly, unless it's like a help book. And if it's like a help book, I need to write in the margins.
Yeah. Like a business book or like a Brene Brown type read.
Yes.
Yeah, I totally get that. Well, I don't think it's cheating at all, because I very often listen to my fiction books because I can listen while I'm doing things like this right here. So like if I weren't on here with you while I was doing this and talking, I could have my earbuds in and be listening to a book while I'm crafting. And that's how I like to do things.
Yeah, me too. Or talking with girlfriends.
Yes.
That is but that can be dangerous too, because then you kind of lose track of your time.
Yeah.
You like her. She is super cute. So the thing has pansies on it. The bottom base has pansies on it. So now I'm wondering, this is a peony. Wondering if I have any pansy type, or if I can make some pansies out of these. I think I can. Sometimes I overthink it. I know it's a shock. There we go. Spread these out a little more. So are you getting excited for your movers and shakers? I saw you were doing some mailings.
Yes, the Makers and Shakers Conference. So for all the early bird registrations, I was putting together little swag packets to mail out today with some stickers and chopsticks and things like that. So I was getting ready to send those out, getting ready to start really ramping up and running some ads and things like that so that we can reach outside of the folks that we already know. So I was making some efforts on that end today, but also getting ready for Creative Con. So next week I'm going to be in Jacksonville speaking at Melissa's conference. So Melissa America, it's Vintage Bee Design Co.
Fun.
So I'm really excited. So I'll be leaving Sunday to go down there, and so I was getting some of my stuff together for that, and then getting the stuff, to mail out for the registrants for just September.
You're so busy.
Whew, yeah. Although I tell you, I have learned, busy is good. I don't know. Everybody's functions a little differently, I know, but for me, busy is good. Like I work better. I get a lot more done when there's at least a little bit of pressure. Now, not to say that I always want all the pressure. I do understand and value rest, right, and a little bit of downtime. But I do. There's something to be said for a fairly full schedule. I get a lot more done when that's the case.
I don't know what this word you speak of, rest, is.
Sorry, that was my dog. My guess is that my husband's in the driveway. Shh, Lula, hush.
Sassy.
I know she's very sassy. I didn't bring her buzz collar either to remind her when she has to listen. I should have brought it out here with me.
I probably need to think about that. I would love to take the two girls in. I didn't mention I have another little girl. I haven't even made her Facebook official, and her name is Frances Bonaparte. You can call her Francie. And I'd love Birdie and Francie to become shop dogs, but we got some training to do.
There's a lot of work into having my dog. So Lula, she's really, really good dog. And we take her up to the store, like when we're having events and stuff, because we're very pet friendly. But you know, I know other people are nervous and stuff. And so that just makes me nervous about having her as a shop dog because she is a little bigger. But she loves people.
Yeah, I mean, my girls are too young to not love people. So I feel like if I do it now, that will be helpful.
I'm sure it would be.
But then you've got people that are, well, mine are hypoallergenic, but people that are afraid of dogs. So I've just been like, I don't know. We have a person down the street and they have a French bulldog that they bring to work every day, and everyone loves Rue. It's a cook shop.
Oh.
Okay, look how sweet is her crown. Let's see if I can tip her back.
I love it.
Isn't that sweet? I think I'm just going with the 3.
I think that yeah.
Crown.
More of a embellishment than a full on.
Yes, flower crown thing. Yes.
All right. Bring my camera back down here for a second so you can see.
Ooh,
look at that.
I love those colors.
That's the hand spun that I did.
I
love it.
Teach me. No, not really. I've got enough to learn still. I am trying to teach myself the art of gouache. Is that correct?
Yes.
I am trying my hardest to master that. It is quite the challenge. I believe
it. I believe it because it's like a cross between acrylic and watercolor, right?
Yes, it's a different animal. You want to see what I did yesterday? I'll bring it over. I just like whip out a couple of poppies. I just whip out a couple of poppies. No big deal, right? Put it on I got something that I didn't mean to buy, and then I waited too long and couldn't send it back. So I've got like 2 things of them. So I'm just using them for practice boards. Hang on, let me grab. All right, so I thought just do a practice one, and I was gonna do it holding a hand, and so when I did it, I didn't leave enough for it. So these are the folding. They're like a folding canvas.
Okay.
They're terrible. Like the paper is terrible. It's just not. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just use them to practice because it's kind of a kooky formula. So I did and whipped those out pretty good for never having done copies. It's not horrible. So then I thought, okay, well, I'm just I'll do more, and then I won't have to mess with the hand. And then it kind of went sideways because it went with pink and like that doesn't even look like a poppy. Okay.
No, but it does look like a very pretty flower. So it doesn't have to be a poppy.
Yes. Well, yesterday was Memorial Day, so it was tempting the poppy. So then I got the hand, and the hand is not horrible.
Yeah, it's a good shape. I like it.
But the poppies, that's a big no. They don't even look like poppies. So I finally threw my one hand up in the air. But so this is gouache on black, and I don't know if it's I should have just stuck with my original one, the first one that I did. But it's good to try new things.
It is very good to try new things. So the next step for this will be taking these cuffs and also pulling stones into them. So instead of only adding message bands and that kind of thing, I'm thinking that I might actually string some natural stones that go with some of the fibers and bring stones to it. But see, this is the whole thing I'm talking about. Yeah. I'm getting so involved with this process, and the more I do, the more it has to cost. So we're getting into that gray area, right? It's like at some point it's going to cost too much for anyone to want to buy it and wear it on a daily basis.
Yes, but you will get faster.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've been doing this for years, and about 45 minutes is as low as I've got. Well, no. Okay. We got started. We were 40 minutes in when I finished the cuff, and I didn't start it immediately. So I think I've gotten about 30 minutes per cuff for working it up. But like I said, I've been doing it for years. I don't see getting much faster at this point.
I mean, to me, 30 minutes is pretty gosh darn good. But
I mean, it is. But when you start working it into a formula for pricing, it starts to, and then you take into account the materials. You know, if it was only time, then that probably wouldn't be so bad. But time plus materials, you start to get, starts to get up there. But that's okay. I mean, like I said, I love them, and enough people like them to where it's fine. I don't have to sell massive quantities. I'll be happy just making, I mean, who knows, maybe I'll just have a whole big stash of fiber jewelry for myself, and that's okay too.
Or you can charge more because that they are worth it.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I will charge more. I'm just saying if nobody buys it, then at some point it's just mine.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. Well, that would be a horrible problem.
No, right? It would just be absolutely horrible to have to wear beautiful jewelry all the time because I can't find anyone who wants to buy it. I don't think that's going to be a problem.
I need an opinion.
I don't know why I'm talking like that. I don't see that being a problem.
I need your opinion. Okay. So I've got these, sometimes I will take bags. I don't know if you can see it. And I will group beautiful buttons together that are like, I don't know why. So this one's kind of pink and black and gold. It's got
a little bit of a floral.
Yeah, there's some beautiful ones in there. The shine is real. But then I have some like mother of pearl with glass buttons and the gold. So that'd be a little more neutral. That's gonna go around her neck. And then these are just plain, well, they're not plain black. Nothing I have is plain. And there's like a clock one in there. So we've got a flower theme going here. So I'm trying to figure out, which one did you like the best? The mother of pearl or the black with the pink? I think
I like the black with the pink. I saw it looked like there were some flowers in there and a little bit of green in there even.
Yep, there is. And I've got green. You can't see it probably, but I've got green and pink and blue and on that pansy. Here, I'll show you the. Oops, don't eat those, birdie. Okay, here's the.
Yes.
Those are pretty, right?
Those. Those are super pretty.
Oh, that one's really pretty. I forget what I put in here. Yes, this is, yes, I think. Oh, look at the little shoes. Look at the little shoes.
Oh my God.
We can't see them.
I can. Those are precious.
This one, oh, this one's an expensive button. This one is got a castle on it and a bridge. Okay, good choice, Danielle. What is
nice.
This?
Yes.
Oh, this one is a cameo. Ooh.
I got a good picker.
Yeah, this is a cameo button.
Pretty.
Okay, good choice. There's a couple of mother of pearl in there too. There's a couple of fancy buttons and there's a couple, kind of plainish. So it'll be perfect. Yay! Oh, you know what? Yay. This would be pretty right in the center. Yes. Look, right here.
Yeah.
She's going to be pretty.
All glammed out.
Yeah. Yep, I can tell already I'm not going to want to sell her either.
All right. So there's the finished cup with the hand spun. I really, really like that.
Oh,
I will say this one went faster. This one went faster. So maybe there's something to that. Of course, there's the time to spin the yarn, but something about the way this yarn was, because the other one's so overspun, it just went faster.
Do you think that's what the difference is?
I think I do. I know it is, because when I was working on this one, as awesome as it is, the yarn kept like when yarn is overspun, and I didn't know this was something Jerry taught me, but like when you get yarn and you're pulling it out of its skein or off the ball or whatever, and it wants to just like kink up on itself, that's because it's been overspun and it's too tight and it's not laying correctly. It doesn't have good drape. And so when I'm working with the sari silk that's been spun so tightly, it wants to kink up on itself, and I'm constantly having to massage out the kinks as I go. And so it makes it take longer. Whereas this one, while granted, I mean, again, it's one that I did and I'm still learning, so it wasn't perfectly consistent. And there were a couple of areas that were a little overspun, but not to the extent that the other one was. And so I wasn't constantly having to unknot it. It was easier to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So.
It looks soft.
It is soft. It's very soft.
Okay.
It's merino. It's merino wool.
Just one for myself. Just one.
You might have to just keep one.
One. I do love a good bracelet. I really do.
I do too. I have my favorite one I wear all the time.
It's an older, I mean, not that older people, but I didn't actually wear bracelets much when I was younger, but now.
Well,
I wear generally an Apple Watch, so I kind of like something to dress up. Ooh, could you make Apple Watch bands?
I could.
Oh, I would love that ever so much, because I hate my Apple Watch band, and that's why I wear bracelets.
There's a lot of places that'll sell the attachment, like to make it attached to the smartwatch part. And then you just have to create or craft, the rest of it. I've always loved bracelets, and I've always loved big chunky bracelets. But for the decade or so that I was working in offices and at computers all the time, your bracelet was always clunking up against the keyboard. And so I didn't wear them all that often. I got out of the habit of wearing them because it was such a bother. And now, even though I work on the keyboard and stuff, like I'll take it off while I do that and then put it back on, because that's not my whole day anymore. Because I love a good bracelet.
Right. I feel like I'm going to be sitting here for a minute. That's why God made blue painter's tape.
That's right.
I just have to find some. Danielle, this has been so much fun.
It has been. Thank you for joining me tonight.
I'm just going to say, look at how this, you probably can't lost her head. Look at this and how it matches perfectly.
It is perfect. I love it.
She lost her crown.
She lost her head and her crown. It's Marie Antoinette.
So much. Marie Antoinette. You want to hear a quick story about Marie Antoinette and my association with her?
Yes.
When she was being going to have her head chopped off, she was offered we're named, Marietta is named after Marie Antoinette. And Napoleon, not Napoleon, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
He sent a lot of gifts over. I'm going to pin her down. I'm going to pin the crown down. I'm not going to glue that down. That's why it was just ever so slightly precariously perched on there. Anyhow, so we were named after Marie Antoinette, and as a thank you for the gifts that were sent to our town, because our town is the start of the Northwest Territory. And so every town to the west of where we are in Marietta, Ohio, was born from Marietta, Ohio. So when she was about to get her head chopped off, Marietta offered her asylum in Marietta instead of getting her head being executed. And she chose to be executed instead of coming to Marietta, Ohio in the wilderness. True story.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I love it. That's funny.
It was the winter. So, I don't blame her. It was tough. It was tough here then. She wouldn't have survived. Probably wouldn't have even survived the trip over.
Probably not. Well, seriously, this has been so much fun. So thanks for hanging out and doing this with me tonight.
Thanks for inviting me. I'd be happy to come on any time. And maybe I can complete a craft by the time I do it next time.
I'm telling you, you got an awful lot done on that girl tonight, though.
Yeah, I did, actually. Even just the thinking, planning stage sometimes takes a minute. So I'm super excited about where she's going. Yeah. So I'll post a picture so you can see how
definitely, and we'll share it. So you guys, just so you know, next week I am going to be speaking at Creative Con in Jacksonville. So I'm not going to be here on Tuesday night. We'll be back the next week with another Makers Create Live, but keep your eyes open tomorrow because we do have another podcast episode coming out. So, all righty.
Whoop, whoop. Thanks, Danielle.
Thanks, Mary.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Marietta. Thanks, Greta. Bye.